Chairman Wicker, thank you very much, and thank you for you and Senator Cantwell hosting this hearing. Let me address initially the topic that seems to be primary today, and then if time, data privacy. Let me ask all three witnesses, how much money does your company spend annually on content moderation? How many people work in general in the area of content moderation, including by private contract? Let me just start with those two questions. Ultimately, I also want to ask you, how much money does your company spend in defending lawsuits stemming from user content on the platform?
Okay, Mr. Zuckerberg, you want to go first there?
Senator, we have more than 35,000 people who work on content and safety review, and I believe our budget is multiple billions of dollars a year on this. I think upwards of three or maybe even more $1 billion a year, which is a greater amount in revenue that we're spending on this than the whole revenue of our company was the year before we filed to go public in 2012.
Thank you.
Mr.
McKime. Senator, we use both a combination of human reviewers and AI moderation systems. We have well over 10,000 reviewers, and we are investing there significantly. And I would again, not sure of the exact numbers, but I would say it's in the order of over $1 billion we spend on these things.
Thank you,
Mr. Dorsey.
I don't have the specific numbers, but we want to maintain agility between the people that we have working on this, and also just building better technology to automate it. So our goal is flexibility here.
Let me ask the question again about how much would you estimate that your company is currently spending on defending lawsuits related to user content?
In the same order, okay?
Senator, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I can get back to you.
Thank you.
Senator, we do spend a lot on legal lawsuits, but not sure what of it applies to content-related issues, but happy to follow.
Thank you.
And I don't have those numbers.
Let me use your answers to highlight something that I want to be a topic of our conversation as we debate this legislation. Whatever the numbers are, you indicate that they are significant. It's an enormous amount of money and an enormous amount of employee time, contract labor time in dealing with modification of content. These efforts are expensive, and I would highlight for my colleagues on the committee that they will not be any less expensive, perhaps less in scale, but not less in cost for startups and small businesses. And as we develop our policies in regard to this topic, I want to make certain that entrepreneurship, startup businesses, and small business are considered in what it would cost in their efforts to meet the kind of standards that to operate in this sphere. Let me quickly turn to federal privacy. I chair the Consumer Data Privacy Security Act. We've tried for months, Senator Blumenthal and I, to develop a bipartisan piece of legislation. We were close, but unsuccessful in doing so. Let me ask Mr. Zuckerberg. Facebook entered into a consent order with the FTC in July of 2012 for violations of the FTC Act, and later agreed to pay a $5 billion penalty along with a robust settlement order in 2018 following the Cambridge Analytica incident that violated the 2012 order. My legislation will provide the FTC with first-time civil penalty authority. Do you think this type of enforcement tool for the FTC would better deter unfair and deceptive practices than the current enforcement regime?
Senator, I would need to understand it in a little bit more detail before weighing in on this. But I think that the settlement that we have with the FTC, we're going to be setting up an industry-leading privacy program. We have, I think, more than 1,000 engineers working on the privacy program. now, and it, we're basically implementing a program which is sort of the equivalent of Sarbanes-Oxley's financial regulation around kind of internal auditing and controls around privacy and protecting people's data as well. So I think that settlement will be quite effective in ensuring that people's data and privacy are protected.
Mr. Pichai, Google YouTube's $170 million settlement with the FTC in the state of New York for alleged violations of COPPA involve persistent identifiers. How should federal legislation address persistent identifiers for consumers over the age of 13?
Senator, we today have invested, we've done two things as a company. We have invested in one-of-a-kind special product called YouTube Kids, where content can be safe for kids. Obviously, on the YouTube main product, today, the way internet gets used, families do view content, and part of our settlement was adapting so that we can accommodate for those use cases as well. Privacy is one of the most important areas we invest in as a company, have thousands of engineers working on it. We believe in giving users control, choice, and transparency. And anytime we associate data with users, we are transparent. They can go see what data is there. We give them delete controls. We give data portability options. And just last year, we announced an important change by which for all new users, we delete the data automatically without them needing to do anything. And we encourage users to go through privacy checkup. Over 1 billion people have gone through their privacy checkups, and it's an area where we are investing significantly.
Thank you. Chairman, I don't see my time clock. Do I have time for one more?
You really don't. Your time has just expired, but thank you very much for.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.